Happy 4th of July. I hope everybody is having a good time and enjoying themselves with the family. Well, today I would like make a video called "You Cannot Get Blood from a Turnip." Now, you know that's an old saying that, you know, a lot of old black folks who say you can't get blood from a turnip. Well, it's the same, and in this count, what it means is that you cannot you cannot expect people to do what they can't do. You know, you can't expect people to do more than what they can't do. That's what it means. You can't get blood out of a turnip. You know, don't expect more from a person that, you know, they can't do financially or physically, or, you know, they need help. You know, you can't force them to do it. Don't expect all of that. And that's the same way it is with Nintendo nowadays, especially with the console that they have. I have been looking at podcasts, and I'm in this Facebook group called Wii U Mad, and the negativity in them groups are very high. They expect Nintendo to be like Sony and Microsoft. They expect for them to have out all of these games like Sony and Microsoft. And even on these podcasts, you know, a lot of these gamers, these former Wii U owners that traded in their Wii U's because Nintendo cannot put out the games that Sony and Microsoft does. It's very negative, you know, like Dave had enough. That's all he make videos negative on Nintendo all the time. And now you have Gamer27 who used to take up for Nintendo and go against Black Bun all the time. Now he's becoming Black Bun Jr. And you know, they're young, and they think they know business and they don't. And, you know, I'm not saying I do, but I understand a lot of stuff because I'm older now. You know, they sitting on the sidelines, but they're not in the trenches with Nintendo. They're not. I'm not. Nobody is. We all sitting on the sidelines, but I can understand Nintendo's situation. Now, you know, I'm gonna give you a little knowledge now. Sony, Microsoft, they got a lot of help. You know, third-party help. Believe it or not, a lot of folks now are posting that Nintendo don't release games in the summertime. They act like they brand new. Nintendo, as far as I remember, you know, they didn't. But the key factor is Nintendo had third-party support to take up that slack during the summertime. You remember back in the day, the third-party shined in the summertime on a Nintendo console. It really did. Remember, like, you know, even like NBA Live and NBA Street, you know, they had, but, you know, third parties would put Nintendo characters in them games during the summertime. And people would act like, you know, they would treat that game like it was a first party game. And everybody would, you know, even in the fighting games, you know, like Soul Calibur, they had Link in there. It was the top selling game, Soul Calibur 2, and they had Link. It outsold the version on the Xbox and PlayStation. And you know, it's during the summertime. And Nintendo, they always did that. But see, when Nintendo do not have any kind of third party support, it's a magnifying glass on them now. Everybody's trying to, you know, a lot of stuff Nintendo did now that they used to do back then, they can't do. People is looking now. Why they ain't got all the games? Why they can't be like Sony and Microsoft? Well, let me tell you something. Sony and Microsoft, they're releasing the same amount of of first and second party games is Nintendo. You know, speaking of Microsoft, what games have they released yet? What games? Nintendo has released Splatoon. I think it's Yoshi Woolly World out. They have released. They're releasing their games, but nobody have noticed that, you know, Microsoft and Sony, I don't think releasing nothing right now. But see, they got that third party support to take up the slack, and people are not noticing that their first, third, second party is not releasing nothing. A few people, like One Stop for Gamers, he gets on Microsoft, and he's a Microsoft guy. People think he's a PlayStation dude, but he gets on Microsoft, and he's telling people that Microsoft is not releasing no first party, second party games. But they getting third party support, and people looking through rose colored glasses that they putting out all these games, but they are third party games, multiplats. Same way with Sony. It's only one guy on the Sony side that gets on Sony. Everybody else is a bunch of, fanboys, and we're number one. We're number one. And it's only one guy, and that's Zobe. Z-O-B-E. He's the only one that gets on Sony. I don't see nobody else on the Sony side getting. I don't see everybody else is looking through rose-colored glasses. They think we got their greatness. They got the third-party greatness. They got the third-party multiplat greatness. Exclusive third-party, greatness. So you cannot compare Nintendo to Sony or Microsoft because they're not in the same situation. They're not. Microsoft got a whole bunch of third-party support, and so does Sony. Matter of fact, there's sharing games between each other. They got help. Nintendo, with the console they have now, they don't have help. They might not even have help with the NX. We don't know. Nintendo is in it by themselves. I would love one day to see how Sony or Microsoft will handle things if they had if third party would pull off from abandoning them, like they have abandoned Nintendo with the Wii U. What would Sony have done if EA, Ubisoft, Sega, all of these Western, and they depend on 2K, Take-Two, I'm just going to put Take-Two, that covers EA, that covers 2K, Rockstar, and everything. They depend on that developing house. What if that developing house just leave them? What if EA, what if Activision leave them and don't put no games out for their consoles? What would they do? What would they do if Activision all of a sudden said we're not going to put Call of Duty on Sony, and then they said we're not going to put Call of Duty on Xbox One. We're not mad. EA come out, Peter Moore come out and say we're not going to put no games out on the Sony PlayStation. They're not going to get Madden. They're not going to get this and that. And them games that EA and Sony. I don't even think they can do half the job that Nintendo is trying to do with their console. Do I think that Reggie, really people mad at Reggie because Reggie got a big mouth. Reggie needs to shut up and go and release the games that we depend, that he should have released, like Devil's Third, and give us a release date for Fatal Frame. And so all this, you can't get blood from a turnip. That's the whole situation. Quit getting on these videos, making these podcasts, trying to make Nintendo be like Sony. It's never going to happen. As long as Nintendo do not have help like Sony and Microsoft, don't expect them to do the things that Sony and Microsoft can do. They can't. I'm not damage control. I'm just telling the truth. The truth is the truth. You know, all this negativity, y'all act like y'all brand new. Nintendo, matter of fact, Nintendo ain't never had no big third-party support. The only console that had the big third-party support was probably the NES. Even with the GameCube and stuff like that, they didn't have all the games from the big third parties. We didn't have the we didn't have all of that. We always had to get another console to get all the games. So maybe one day Nintendo will have another NES since they have all the great third-party support. But y'all need to stop being so negative all the time. It's it's just games. Y'all taking the fun out of gaming, complaining and stuff. You have a right to complain, but sometimes you go too doggone overboard, and not understanding the situation that Nintendo's in. They don't have help like that. Dave, Gamer 27, Nintendo do not have they not got it like Sony and Microsoft. Well, y'all have a blessed day. They don't have all that help. Y'all have a blessed day. And have a like I said, happy 4th of July. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.